Hello everybody, thank you for joining me in this video. This is going to be my review of the Holiday Inn Vacation Club Timeshare Ownership Program by Holiday Inn Club Vacations. How it all began. So this all started when my partner got an email in April 2019 with an opportunity. Your favorite memories are here waiting to be made. Dear blank, whether you choose to swim with dolphins or hike through the Great Smoky Mountains, it's your choice with this member-exclusive opportunity. For $119.99, it's all it takes to spend 4 days and 3 nights making memories with your family in Orlando or Gatlinburg. You'll earn 10,000 IHG Rewards Club points and also earn an extra night if you book by May 13th, 2019. This special offer only lasts until May 30th, 2019. See of all what Orlando and Gatlinburg have to offer. Call 855-334-8340 today to request a reservation now. So after receiving that email, we did in fact call and make a reservation. It was understood that our incomes had to be of a certain amount and that we would have to be for sure a couple. So then afterwards we were sent this link. It says call 855-344-8340, mention VIP code IHG email for today. So then after we made the call, we mentioned the code, and you had to specifically say that code in order to receive the bonus of 4 days and 3 nights. You received an additional night to your getaway when you booked by a specific date, May 13th, 2019. So it's 4 days and 3 nights for only $199. Really great deal, especially for a awesome hotel, right? And we decided we wanted to go to Tennessee, so we picked the Smoky Mountains. Now you can see the details of the participation below. Accommodations are limited, expires the 30th of May, and fees may apply. So those are all the details. So after making the decision, we went ahead and we booked 4 nights and 5 days on May 10th for Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So initially when we made it, we were told kind of vaguely, oh yes, you will be staying at the resort in Gatlinburg. So we were under the impression we were going to stay at a Holiday Inn resort type. But instead we were actually placed at this other hotel called the Greystone Lodge on the river. Now, the Greystone Lodge on the river, although it is not a resort, it's actually a really wonderful hotel. Can't have no complaints whatsoever about that hotel. It was actually really good. But no, we were not at the resort Holiday Inn Express Downtown Lodge. So that was unexpected. The retail value was approximately $200 a night, and like I said, the Greystone Lodge on the river is such an excellent hotel. It was sold out during the time that we stayed there and afterwards. Okay, so then there's more details about the Smoky Mountains. Holiday Inn Express Downtown Gatlinburg. That is a copy and pasted detail from the email that we would where we would be staying. So it gives us the impression that we were going to be staying at the Holiday Inn Express, right? So from July 27th to the 31st, these are the details of our trip. We were driving from Texas to Louisiana, Destin, Florida, Tampa, Key West, Savannah, Georgia, finally to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. This area we have not been at before, but it is such a wonderful place, very pretty, beautiful mountains and the river. So like I said, it was above and beyond. It was a really nice place, and it exceeded our expectations. The room was even well equipped with a balcony overlooking the river. So we got a really good deal of $199 plus tax for the entire stay. We did a lot of recreational activities, shopping, looked around the area, did several sightseeing. So the only catch to our trip that we went on was that we had to attend the 2-hour presentation on Monday the 29th at 2 p.m. So we kind of went into this blind. We didn't know exactly what we were getting into. We know it was going to be some sort of a presentation having to do about vacations, but we didn't really look into it until right before, and then we realized after looking up some information that it was going to be kind of like a sales pitch, similar to like a car dealership sale, except this was for a timeshare, which honestly it's a foreign concept to us, as young adults. We never thought about pursuing a timeshare. It was kind of like I said, a foreign concept, especially in the time of Airbnbs and rent. To our presentation. So we were not looking forward to the presentation, and we needed to get through this, right? So whatever the Holiday Inn was planning to offer, we decided we're going to say no, because there's not anything else that we needed. We went in, we checked in at the front desk. We were given this paper at the Greystone Lodge to be signed at this presentation, so we wanted to make sure we had that signed as a requirement of the deal of the $199 stay. So of course, before even making the reservations at the Greystone Lodge, confused to be the Holiday Inn Resort, we had to verify or mention that we both were employed and we made at least $50,000. We were credit worthy, not bankrupt, fluent in English, were not under the influence, and had a possession of a driver's license and credit cards. Otherwise, if we did not meet all of these qualifications, we would be charged the full cost of the hotel. So after we were checked in and we verified all our information with the front desks there at the vacation club section of the hotel, we sat in the lobby, we waited, and there were various other couples there waiting to attend the same presentation. And one by one, a representative would come in and ask us, or say hello, ask us if we needed anything like water and such. And like I said, couple by couple, a representative would come in and take them and lead us to another area of the hotel where there was several tables set up, and there were couples on each little round table with a representative, and it was to a full-blown discussion, various discussions and conversations going on at the same time in the same room. So when our turn came up, our salesperson was Belinda Hammond. Belinda Hammond sat down with us, and she did a quick meet and greet, asking us a few questions about vacationing, how we felt about it, what's the most important part of vacationing, where would we go on vacations if we wanted to, what did we do during the vacations, basic questions about vacations. And while we gave her our answers, she appeared to be disinterested after a while based on our answers, and it kind of failed to establish a genuine relationship between, a salesperson and the customer. personally, I will give her an account of how I enjoyed visiting Gettysburg and watching the reenactment of the Civil War, and she kind of just nodded off and looked to the ceiling and kind of in a disapproval manner, not really believing in my answers. The most important things that I chose to seek in a vacation was to go and visit something historical or some kind of physical activity like jet skiing or something. But even simple answers like this seem to be met with disapproval based on her facial expressions, her looking away. And honestly, I don't know what answer she was looking for, because as vacationers, those were our answers. That's what we wanted in a vacation. So after a while of her eyes not meeting with ours while we were talking back and forth throughout the talk, we could kind of hear other conversations going on, of, kind of like a sales pitch, and she gave us a brief history of Holiday Inn before escorting us to another room for a video presentation about the offerings of Holiday Inn Vacation Club package. Okay, so once we had like we did not really have a successful conversation. It was just kind of awkward throughout the whole conversation about vacationing. She led us to go watch this presentation, which we're going to talk about. So the video presentation was honestly quite pretentious. We laughed a lot, and the video had no closed captioning, so I mean, if there was anybody disabled or hard of hearing or what have you, I mean, there was no captions provided. In the video, over 95% of the people were white. There was no variation of the appearance of the guests at the resort. Nobody with disabilities. There were not too many minorities in the video, aside from a couple of black families. But honestly, it was like a little cookie cutter, picture perfect video showing people full of smiles, big teeth. Honestly, what resort do you go to where there's no one else except one family? I mean, after having visited various vacation spots in Florida and what have you, there's lots of people all around, especially during summer. You cannot tell me that at a resort there's going to be hardly anybody except your family. So that was kind of that was not very accurate display of how it is when you actually go on vacation. There's people everywhere. So I would like to know where these resorts are, where there's hardly anybody else on the beach or in the swimming pool. So many of the activities in the video did not even show activities that we do when we're on vacation, like I said, and the activities the members engaged in had nothing to do with the resort itself. Also, because like if you wanted to do something else, like go to a water park or kayaking, like you don't need to stay at the resort to do these things. So the things that we usually do on vacation, we don't need to be at a resort to do them, and vice versa. You don't have to go to resort to do some jet skiing. So whatever is activities are on the resort, they may or may not match up with what you actually want to do on a vacation. Back to the table. After the presentation, Miss Hammond escorted us back to the original table and asked us some questions about the business of Holiday Inn. Do you trust Holiday Inn when it comes to doing business with them? We flatly said no. She looked in incredulous awe and reiterated the question. We said no again. She asked why not. And honestly, we don't know anything about the business side of Holiday Inn. When you think of Holiday Inn, you think of renting out a room, and that is the extent of your relationship with the hotel chain. You rent a room with Holiday Inn. You don't necessarily partake in any business with the hotel. There's no contract set up aside from you abide by the hotel rules when you rent a room at Holiday Inn. And afterwards she asked the same question, but then she did it in a way where it was passive aggressive or more aggressive by holding on to her tablet and kind of pounding it on the table and asking in a symbolic way, do you trust Holiday Inn when it comes to doing business with them? So she held on to her tablet and she proceeded to pound it against the table as she was asking this. So it was kind of it was belittling to us because we're full grown adults. We're over the age of 30, and I know we are not at a retirement age or close to it, but still, and I know I don't appear to be my age. I appear to be quite younger, but I am an adult making close to $50,000. And if you want me to buy something from you that's gonna extend to over a period of years in payments, that's not even something that I'm going to own. Why are you talking to me like I'm a child who is incapable of making a decision or answering the question based on my response? Okay, so that was a little bit disrespectful to us, losing me completely. Judging her rude behavior at that moment, I immediately found Miss Hammond very unprofessional, condescending, and disrespectful, and no answers we gave met Miss Hammond's expectations of what was considered normal by her standards. And soon after, she gave up on us as potential customers and started to work on both of us with a deal. So basically, when she would ask us about prices and how much do we spend on this or that on vacations, we gave genuine answers. For about maybe 3 weeks worth of vacationing here, from Texas all the way to Tennessee, going through Florida and Louisiana, we honestly only spent about $2,000 in between the both of us, about $2,000, maybe a little bit over. But we do that strategically by planning out the vacation and by not eating out so much. We actually stayed on a campground a couple of nights. We made our own food. Maybe that is not the most typical way people vacation, but that's how we do it. Strategically to keep the costs down so we won't have to be spending so much money on our vacation. Maybe that's not how everybody vacations, but once again, if I am a potential customer, supposedly quote unquote owner of this vacation club, and you are the representative speaking with me, I would at least expect you to have some respect of my answers, as ridiculous or not that you think they are. Please respect my responses. You could think they're ridiculous, but that is the truth. Now, moving on, she asked us what we knew about timeshare. Honestly, we had no clue. In the background, we kind of had an idea, but we wanted her to explain it. And personally, I wanted to know, what does it mean to be an owner of this vacation club? What is it that I exactly own in this vacation club, besides having to make a payment? Is there anything tangible that I actually own from being a part of this vacation club? Absolutely not. She proceeded to explain what it was, which was nebulous and lacking in substance, and didn't give us the full picture of what exactly it entailed. Okay? So doing the math, asking how often we went on vacations, how much we spent on vacations, we said not much. Like I said before, about $2,000 for 3 weeks. She showed us a look of disbelief. She said our math must be way off. She did her own math and said that we would have spent roughly $84,000 on vacations for the next 30 years. And then she came up with a plan of purchasing a timeshare for $44,000 at any holiday vacation club resort. Asked if we might be interested. We said no. She tried to convince us by comparing rent versus owning, $84,000 versus $44,000, and asked which sounded logically better. We proceeded to say rent. But then she took a look at the numbers before proceeding to show us 2 books of pure gibberish about hotels across the world with its respective point system for different rooms, different levels. So this point system, honestly, I don't want this point system means nothing really, unless you're showing me an equivalent of how many points equals how many dollars, like points equals this amount of dollars. Like, what exactly are the points worth? Do the points have any monetary value? Are they applied to a credit card for a monetary value? If you're making payments for these points, can the points be redeemed for money? Probably not. They're only redeemed for time spent at this vacation club. And then on top of making payments to be a part of this club, which is a vague concept in itself, you're paying, from what she vaguely explained, fees for upkeep, maintenance fees. So on top of whatever payments you're making to be a part of this club, to have supposed ownership of this club, you're also paying maintenance fees on top for property that you don't even own. You don't own this property. You're maintaining this property for what? For other people to come and rent it later with points? So that was my understanding after looking into this, and it doesn't make sense to me. Why am I going to be spending money on a property that's not even mine? Why don't I just spend money on my own house? You know, when you go on vacation, you don't need to have these luxurious, lavish, random rooms that you're not going to own. You're just sleeping there. Okay, so grand tour of the room. Miss Hammond escorted us to a model of the room that we would get out of our timeshare purchase. Turned out to be a fancy hotel room that almost resembled a real house. Living room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, including a master bathroom with elaborate shower and tub, like I was trying to explain. And she asked if we like what we saw. Of course, I mean, it's nice. She asked again if we would be interested in purchasing a timeshare. We said no. Upon hearing my answer, Belinda used her hands and arm to wave away in a negative connotation, as if I was a child and didn't know what I was talking about. So again, with the passive aggressiveness of the physical gestures, it was like a disapproval moment, and we're asking me from adult to adult, would you be interested in this? And I'm saying no. That is my response. That is my true answer to you. I mean, if you disagree, I've never seen a salesperson just throw their hand at me in disagreement. That is something maybe you do to a child, but we are full-grown adults. Okay. From that point on, she repeated this behavior several times. Finally, we went back to the table, and it was approaching the end of the 2-hour presentation. Thank goodness. Miss Hammond lost her interest and failed to make eye contact with us anymore. Okay. So, within a few minutes of us spending time with her, after a while it was clear we were not interested in the timeshare quote-unquote ownership, and she was not interested in spending any time with us. But of course, this requirement of the 2-hour presentation is, lingering. So she has to do her job, and we're doing our part in being respectful and listening to the presentation. So if that is your way of trying to sell a timeshare, I mean, you're failed. That's a big fail. It's 2 hours. You can show respect throughout the 2 hours. You never know. Maybe at the last 5 minutes I might change my mind and actually want to partake in this scam timeshare. But I don't have to be belittled throughout those 2 hours. Here comes the manager. A manager, black woman from Jamaica, whose name I honestly don't remember, came to sit down with us, and she tried to give us a quick sales pitch, offering 3 different packages for substantially less money and lower monthly payments. So it's interesting because at the beginning she asks us about how much money we spend, right? And she doesn't really show us the math, but somehow in the tablet does the math, and it figures out, like, based on the number we give her, how much money are we gonna need on these vacations. And so the tablet predicts this certain number, and then somehow she came up with this 84,000 and then a monthly payment of 500 and some. So honestly, that is not something we wanted to pay on a monthly basis. And so then this next saleswoman, she asked us how we were being treated by Miss Hammond, and what did we think of the presentation, and if we weren't interested, if we would be interested in a lower package, which, like I've been trying to explain, I don't know where they get these numbers from. I don't know what data or what statistics or what are they basing these payments on. I have no idea. So she offers us different packages of significantly lower money. The lowest package had a monthly payment of about $212. Like, once again, I don't know where that money is going to. So, I mean, you cannot foresee how many times you're going to go on vacation. How am I supposed to know if I'm going to actually use those points? You cannot foresee things. What if I have an illness or something? My money is going to continue being withdrawn for this payment of a vacation? Vacation, how important is that in your life? What is... Okay. Anyway, so we're trying to say that we weren't interested. She took no longer than maybe 10 minutes, weak sales pitch. So at that point, our concern was getting the voucher signed, because we needed that voucher as originally outlined for the deal, so that we could have our stay at the quote-unquote resort, the Greystone Lodge, for 4 days and 3 nights for $199. So then, after we told this woman, the manager from Jamaica, that we were not interested, third woman came in, and with glasses, she was younger, don't remember her name, but she came in. She asked us a few questions again, survey questions on how we were treated by the presenter, if we were interested in the future for a timeshare with holiday and vacation. and from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest. And once again, we answered no. The presentation was finally over at 4:10. She signed us off, and we checked out with a paper voucher formally signed and 2 slips for 5,000 points per slip. Again with the points. And Miss Hammond never shook hands, never said goodbye, promptly left the table once the second woman came over. So at the beginning we were greeted by Miss Hammond, right? Trying to come across, I mean, you can't really be genuine and not at the same time. Like, you could tell when somebody's being really fake, and this woman was not genuine from the beginning. She never said goodbye. Like, she greeted us, but she didn't say, well, thank you for your time, sorry that we couldn't help you, sorry to hear that you're not interested in our vacation club, but thank you for your time. Something like that, at the least. Like, don't just be like, well, time to take out the trash, bye. You know what I mean? And that is the feeling that I was given by this representative. I'm not asking for anything more than basic respect, and that is not what I was given during this whole sales pitch. My feelings and reactions afterwards. So after the 2-hour presentation wasn't as tough as I thought it would be, we were lucky to get a weak salesperson in the mold of Barbara Walters. She was no challenge. We think if we had gotten a male representative, he might have been a lot firmer, a lot more pushy, based on what we heard from the other tables. I did hear from another table next to us of the salesperson asking them if they were interested, and the gentleman replied something about if he's not ready, if he could make the commitment, and the man told him, well, if you're married, then you know how to make a commitment. So I just thought that was kind of like, wow, like, you're comparing a commitment in a marriage to a commitment to this vacation club. Like, vacation, once again, vacation, supposed to be relaxing, calm, no priorities during a vacation, right? That is what you think of when you're on a vacation, is not work. How is that comparable to a marriage? Right? And that is what the salesperson at the next table was talking about, comparing making a commitment to the vacation club to making a commitment in marriage. Okay? So let's think about the word scam. Scam meaning selling me something that I do not need or want. And that is exactly what this 2-hour presentation was about. Trying to sell me something I do not need. I do not need to spend $84,000 on a vacation. I do not need to make payments to take a vacation. If I simply need a vacation, I will go. And I can stay at any hotel I want to. It doesn't have to be Holiday Inn. That is not going to make my vacation experience better. The problem is, to make a financial commitment on the spot requires at least $50,000, and not having time to go home to think it over is extremely unethical. You're only giving me 2 hours to think about spending over $50,000 on vacations. So some families cannot even make their rent on a monthly basis for basic shelter. And this is on just vacations. I am personally disgusted with Holiday Inn for doing this to me and others when all I knew of the business is that it has hotels all over the country and people rent rooms from them. That is all. I am also deeply disturbed that other uninformed people who have trouble saying no may be scammed into this deal because it requires at least $50,000 to start with, and annual payments of at least $2,500 for maintenance fees. for life, which will be passed down to their heirs. There's no equity involved either. Okay. So like I said, there's a lot of vague details to this commitment. You know, you only have 2 hours to decide if you want to spend this money on your vacations, and then all the details. Can you go over all these details in 2 hours? Like about the maintenance fees, and like, what if you can't make a payment? You know what I mean? Like, what are the repercussions? Nobody ever discussed any repercussions about a failure to make payments throughout this presentation. In fact, there was zero discussion about failure to make payments. Okay? And there was no details about the requirements, okay, about payments. After going through the 2-hour presentation, I will never stay at Holiday Inn hotels again. It has lost me as a customer for good. So when they were talking about the history of the hotel chain, and she mentioned something about it being the 3rd biggest hotel chain, I think, about it growing and connecting with IHG, etc., etc. Basically a monopoly. I mean, and like I said, I don't know anything about business with Holiday Inn, because this is not essentially a business with Holiday Inn. By joining this vacation club, I am not profiting from it. They're just giving me points that I have no idea if it has monetary value. I can only redeem those points to stay at hotels, but I'm paying money for those points, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's all vague. It's essentially all vague. So it doesn't matter to me how many hotels are involved in this. And honestly, they don't, like I said, they don't care. They didn't explain to me anything about the repercussions of not being able to make payments. So, thank you so much for joining me in this video. Please think about this, about Holiday Inn's vacation clubs before joining. Hopefully, if you had no knowledge of this before, hopefully this video gives you an insight to what we went through, an insight to what you might be getting into if you accept the terms of the hotel special in an email or something like that. Like I said, this is no disrespect, but at the same time, because of the disrespect we received from the salesperson, the overall experience was very poor. And if I am a customer, please treat me as such, and not like a child, like I'm being scolded for not agreeing to what you're trying to sell me. Okay, the whole thing is illogical. It's farce. It's ridiculous. And if that's my opinion, and I'm a customer, I'm potentially buying this quote unquote ownership vacation club, please treat me with the respect. And like I said, Holiday Inn has lost me forever as a customer with this scam. And I feel so bad for those innocent people who don't realize what they're walking into. They're just, and a lot of the couples that we saw there, it's interesting because they required the couple, right? So there's a 50-50 chance of somebody being interested in the couple. So if the man is not interested, you have the wife there that might be interested. And of course they mention if you have kids. They ask you if you have kids, if you're interested in having kids. And they use that as a factor to try to hook you into this vacation club. But like I said one of our answers was that no, we don't have kids, we're not planning to have kids. And again, we were met with disapproval, like, not planning to have kids, like, you know what I mean? Like, any hook that could have been used to get us to agree to this vacation package was tried, and it was things that were not applicable to our lifestyle. So because of that, we were disrespected, and I'm hoping that more people realize this, and I'm hoping that Holiday Inn at some point will disable this program. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it, and we'll see you all in another video later. Bye.